What's up, duelists? It's your boy. I'm back with a gameplay video. Now that we know a little bit more about the metagame in Edison format, now that we know that people are playing Machina, Blackwings, Fairies, Dragons, that type of thing, is it possible to build an anti-meta deck? Is it possible to build a deck that sort of counters the meta? That's kind of what the point of today's video is. That's kind of what the type of deck I've got for you guys today. I know some people don't really like this style of deck, but I think that these types of decks are actually really skill intensive and can be really difficult to pilot even into the decks they're designed to beat. This deck it's more or less an anti-meta stun deck. I've got 3 of all the monsters that I think are good into those decks. I think Banisher is really good into zombies and fairies. It's also like pretty good into dragons and that other stuff when you have back row because like as long as you're banishing their threats, it's fine. Same thing with Machina. I think it's okay against Machina, but it's probably at its worst there. Fossil Dyna, obviously this card is insane. This locks out entire strategies. It's very good against frogs, very good against Machina. It's also very good against, like, you know, just weird synchro strategies, quick draw zombies, that type of thing. And then if your opponent is playing really passively, they're setting their cards like Shining Angel, Mystic Tomato, that sort of thing, Dyna can really prey on opponents who are playing really passively as well. Triple Breaker, this is kind of your opener in this deck. He just pops the back row, make sure your other guys can stick and swing through stuff like Deep Prison. He also baits Bottomless for your Thunder Kings and your Cyber Dragons and your DD Warrior Ladies, which are the more high value normal summons. The idea with this deck is that every normal summon in this deck doubles as not only a threat, but also as some sort of like removal or stun effect / floodgate effect. So you've got 3 Fossil Dyna, 3 Breaker, 3 Thunder King, 3 DD Warrior Lady. These cards are all both half monster, half removal spell. And then Banisher is kind of a floodgate. Spirit Reaper is like sort of a removal, but not exactly. Like it can take cards out of your opponent's hand if they start playing too passively, and it couples really well with all the removal and the DD Warrior Ladies. And then Cyber Dragon isn't a normal summon, so it's just kind of just like one of those, you know, free cards you might as well play. Now I am playing Triple Upstart, and that is because I couldn't really figure out a configuration for the rest of the list. The Triple Upstart does come back to bite me in one of the matches. I actually think it is okay. I think it's like half good, half bad. You could definitely find better cards to play in these slots. I just wanted to have the most streamlined deck where I was consistently seeing the cards that mattered in the matchups where they mattered. But I think the Upstart Goblins giving the opponents life points, they mattered a little bit too much in the matches that I played. I think I'm going to have to cut them moving forward, and figuring out the last 3 to 4 cards in this deck is going to be really difficult, I think. I think that's the hardest part for stun, is that like you have a really solid 35 cards, and then like the last like 4 or 5 cards are pretty bad. The 3 Upstart Goblin, the Legacy of Yada, not happy with these cards. The rest of the Trap lineup, very happy with it. Trap Hole becomes Bottomless Trap Hole 3 and 4, thanks to Banisher of the Radiance, and it's also really good at making sure your Dyna just sticks around. If your opponent can't special summon, they only have 1 normal, so you just Trap Hole their 1 summon, and then Dyna can just like attack directly. Trap Hole in the main also greatly improves your Blackwing matchup, which is super nice. Compulsory helps you force through damage. It couples really well with Fossil Dyna. Of course, you gotta have Double Road, because you're gonna be playing into sweepers like Torrential Mirror Force almost every single game in order to apply pressure. There's a lot of setups where you're just like Sidra Thunder King 4K, and then if they try to sweeper you, you Starlight Road and you win the game. Or like Sidra Banisher is also really good because they can't use your Sidra for Chimera Tech because Banisher's in play. In the sideboard, I've got a few tech options. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. So the changes I'm going to make after this video is I'm going to cut the Dialk, and I'm probably going to cut the Mystic Swordsman and the Rhoda. I sided in the Mystic Swordsman and the Rhoda in almost every single matchup, and I just never drew them. So it's kind of unreliable. I think I'm going to go with something a little bit more reliable, maybe Nox. Maybe Nobleman of Crossout. And then the Dialk, I'm actually going to side out for a Pot of Avarice. There are some matchups that get really grindy, and you just like lose a lot of monsters. Machina in particular, but Fairies can also get really grindy. And just having a Pot of Avarice to shuffle back like your Dynas or shuffle back your Thunder Kings and just like have that extra like insane top deck in the mid to late game in the control mirror is actually going to be really important. That's kind of the role the Dialk serves, but the Dialk was a little bit more fragile and it wasn't getting its effect off as frequently. And Pot of Avarice was like consistently something that could have been live if I had top decked it in the middle to late game grind game. So I think I'm going to go with 1 Pot of Avarice in the side for the grindy matchups. I'm happy with the 2 Soul Takers, even though giving the life points sucks ass. I'm not really sure about my body. I haven't tested this against Blackwings yet, but that's the only matchup I'd be bringing it in against. Same thing with the Brain Control. I'm not really sure about it, but I'm assuming I'd just bring it in when I have the Gale, because that way I have 3 ways to convert between Cyber Dragon and Gale. Gores, obviously to stop OTKs. I was siding Return for the Dialk. Honestly, this whole sideboard could like change a lot. I like the Rugs, I like the Kaiku, I like the Gale, I like the Gores. The rest of the stuff, maybe the Rhoda and the Mystic Swordsman are actually okay too, but I don't know. I think they're just a little inconsistent, and you'll see the one game I do draw the Mystic Swordsman, it's like at a bad time, which is awkward, but hey, I don't know. That's just the way it is. Extra deck, you gotta have Arcanite, because you can make it with Breaker and Gale. You gotta have the, 7 stars. Urbellum is actually pretty good in this deck at Yada locking the opponent, and Blackwing Armor Master, Blackwing Armwing, that sort of thing. You gotta have them. Okay, let's go ahead and get in the replays. First replay is against Asmodeus 8898. I lose the die roll. Unfortunate. Always unfortunate. Opponent's playing 47 cards. My opening hand's actually pretty good. I love seeing Breaker, and I love seeing Cyber Dragon plus Fossil Dyna. Cyber Dragon and Fossil Dyna in tandem is really good. If the opponent sets a Hamster, I go Special Sidra, normal Fossil Dyna, run over the Hamster, and then they can't do anything. Can't get the Raikou or anything. They do set a monster, set a back row, and pass. So 2 back row, actually. I pick up Starlight Road, which is a pretty good find here because it means that my Cyber Dragon and Fossil Dyna can play into a sweeper. I normal Breaker, I try to pop one of the back row, and I get lucky hitting a Mirror Force, which is really nice. I attack the opponent's set monster, it's Giant Rat. Makes me a little sad because now my Cyber Dragon and my Dyna aren't doing shit, and this Injection Fairy Lily actually would beat the fuck out of me, provided my opponent doesn't play any other monsters. End phase, they activate Legacy of Yatagarasu. I think this card in like 40 plus cards decks is like really stupid. And in general, I'm not really happy with Legacy of Yatagarasu lately. I think it was like a cute tech for a minute, but now that people are sort of like onto it, they're being more hesitant about when they use their removal into back row. And at the same time too, I think the negative tempo of using a card like Legacy of Yatagarasu actually comes up quite a bit. I think you can just cut it from decks. I think it's one of those cards that's going to come in and out of favor in the metagame. And right now in the metagame, the way people are playing, I think it should like phase out for now, at least until people stop playing around it. Here comes a Terraforming. Now I'm learning a little bit more about the opponent's deck. They're probably on some like Gear Town shenanigans. They find Mausoleum, they activate it, they pay 2,000, and here I just like go up my fucking life because not only does the opponent pay 2,000 life points, which is huge, they spend the Mausoleum and the Ancient Gear and the Injection Fairy Lily into my Torrential Tribute, which is crushing. It's very difficult for them to come back from this. I'm going to be able to summon Fossil Dyna. Oh, I don't actually. This is actually a heads up play. I don't summon the Fossil Dyna because then I'd be forced to use like my 1D prison on like any giant rat, and my Cyber Dragon would kind of just rot my hand. And if they Mausoleum into another Gear Dragon, which I'm assuming they have because they search for Mausoleum pretty early here, then I actually just fucking lose because I have nothing to stop that attack, so I actually just have to hold the Dyna. I'm hoping that they go something like Mausoleum into Gear Dragon, attack me directly. I take 3,000, then on my turn I can Chimera Tech plus Dyna and attack them back and then lock them out of the game more or less. And a similar thing happens here. While waiting on the Dyna, they do normal summon the Giant Rat, they attack for 14. A lot of noobs would actually deprison this Giant Rat. Obviously you don't have to because Cyber Dragon plus Dyna can just clear the rat for free and save you a deprison. We special summon the Cyber Dragon, we normal summon the Dyna, we attack the Giant Rat. And the reason we're actually gunning this is because we did find Compulse, so if they do have a Gear Dragon, I can Compulse that and just be chilling, win the game more or less. They go ahead and admit defeat, and we go to Game 2. Game 2, my opening hand is really solid. I've got Thunder King Ryo, which is going to be great in this matchup. I've got Double Breaker, this is like one of the best openers, and then I've got DD Warrior Lady plus Rhoda. The reason I sided in the Rhoda and the Mystic Swordsman is I just wanted an extra way to combat like set Giant Rat. And if this deck is playing something like Raikou, which I know these Ancient Gear decks sometimes do, I would like to have access to Mystic Swordsman level 2. That's pretty much it. Opponent starts off with Machina Gear Frame. A little bit awkward going second against this with Thunder King in hand, but it's just going to happen some percentage of the time. If they summon it, I can DD Warrior Lady it, and if they don't, I can just run this over with Thunder King and set bottomless and just win the game more or less. They don't summon it. They let me run over the Gear Frame. Opponent's not playing a lot of trap cards here, maybe not drawing them as consistently because they're playing 47 cards. But that's just going to work out to our advantage. It means we don't need to lead on Breaker to like sort of bait stuff out. We can just summon our high value Thunder King and win the game. They pitch for Machina Fortress. We bottomless. They activate Terraforming, aka try to activate Terraforming. I remind them of Thunder King, and then they leave the duel. This is kind of rude. Just play out the game. You have actually some decent plays. You have Giant Rat. You have Limiter Removal, and you have another Ancient Gear Dragon in your hand. So like, you could crash the Rat, go get Injection Fairy Lily, and run over my Thunder King. It pays a lot of life points, but you clear the Thunder King, and then your hand's actually pretty good. So I don't like my opponent just leaving the game here. I think it's kind of rude. And I think it's also kind of like scrubby. Like, don't quit out games where you like actually have a very decent chance to keep going. All right, next match. I'm playing against LMAO Lynx. I lose the die roll again, which sucks, but just happens sometimes. Opening hand's really solid. We have our Starlight, we have our Compulsory, and we have Dyna, and we have Breaker. These are just really good cards, and I think they're like really solid in like almost every single matchup. Dyna obviously is like awkward against Blackwings. Breaker's obviously awkward against Frogs and stuff, but like if you just have them in the right matchup, these cards are so high value that they almost mitigate the fact that they're kind of dead cards in other matchups. If I am playing against Frogs here, I do fucking lose because my hand isn't that well cut out to play against Frogs, but I mean, for the most part, Dyna can maybe carry. They start off with a T set, they pass the turn. Here we go for Breaker to pop. After we upstart, we have a really solid suite of back row, which is nice. If it's Raikou, I do like going Breaker pop and then attacking the set before setting any cards. I try to pop, but they do have bottomless, which is unfortunate. I do get a set 4, and I do get a dust shoot them in the draw phase, which is going to show that they had Gale plus Brain, Rekindling, Solomon Book. So this hand is actually pretty good against us because they have the Raikou to pop one of our back row, and if they mill a Flamvel, then their Rekindling is now live, which is super annoying. Dust shoot can't take Rekindling. That's something that is pretty bad of Dust Shoot in this matchup. They hit the Compulsory too, which is really ugly. I wanted them to hit the Road because the Road is always going to be dead as long as they have this Solemn. They end up milling a Flamvel too, which fucking sucks for us. They attack for 200. They set the Solemn and they pass. Now this just sucks because I'm going to be able to summon Dyna and attack over the Raikou, but if they have Fire Dog, I just fucking lose. So, yeah, pretty much just have to hope they don't top deck Fire Dog. They take 1,000 life points here. I set the Trap Hole, and they didn't have the Book of Moon. If I was them, I would have set both Solemn and Book, so they could book the Raikou if I attacked it. That's like the obvious play, and then it also gets them 3 more mills towards their Rekindling, but the opponent misplayed a little bit by not doing that. They top deck Fire Dog, and I'm immediately punished. I go ahead and concede because I can't come back from a Stardust Dragon hitting play there. It just invalidates my last 2 back row, and they still have Book of Moon, so I'm pretty much losing that game 10 times out of 10. Yeah, and they also have Rekindling, so they can make like double Stardust or whatever. It's just really bad. Okay, this game, hold up, gotta hide their hand. Okay, there we go. This game, my hand is much worse, but, you know, we make it work. Upstart finds us another DD Warrior Lady. Now here I want to feign weakness. If they have a Fire Dog, I don't want to set a back row because they'll never play the Fire Dog into the back row. So I don't actually set my Book of Moon, I just set DD Warrior Lady and pass. The reason I do this is because they don't know about DD Warrior Lady yet, A, and B, if I set my Book of Moon, they're never playing their Fire Dog. They'll like play a Raikou or something first, which I don't want them to do. I want them to get a little greedy, and that's exactly what they do. They summon the Fire Dog, they attack the DD Warrior Lady, and boom, easy money. DD Warrior Lady banishes, they set a back row. I top deck Bottomless, which is another great draw. I'm able to Breaker, get my +1, take out their Dust Tornado, attack directly. If they have Gores, I get owned, but what can you do? I'm going to set my 2 back row and pass. They blind Typhoon here, which is interesting, but they end up hitting the Bottomless, which kind of sucks. They summon Fire Dog, and I could let this Fire Dog resolve, but I really don't want to let them get a chance to Rekindling, so I Book of Moon the Fire Dog. This is kind of a point of contention. I could have let it resolve and then use the DD Warrior Lady to clear the Synchro, but I just don't want them to have a high value Rekindling later in the game. Here I summon the DD Warrior Lady because I do just want to banish the Fire Dog, make sure they can't Rekindling. I attack. They spend a Book of Moon. This is a misplay from the opponent. I'm going to be able to run over the Fire Dog anyway, so you should just not spend your Book of Moon. Run it over, set the Deep Prison, pass. Now the opponent's just down 2 cards, solid 2 cards. And yeah, they set Gravekeeper Spy, but we have Fossil Dyna, so we can just summon that. In case it's Hamster or Spy, the Dyna will lock it out from using its effect, and the DD Warrior Lady can clear it. We can get in 2,800 damage and pretty much solidify ourselves to win this game. We hit 2,800. Now they need Heavy Storm plus a 3rd Fire Dog to really get anything going. They can't Rekindling because we have Dyna, so we're just crushing. They summon Gale, they have the Breaker. This sucks, but like at the same time we can just deprison the Gale, normal summon the Thunder King, be in a great spot. Now even if they do have the 3rd Fire Dog, they can't win because Thunder King will just negate their Synchro, and then we have Torrential in case they have Rekindling. They summon Flamvel Magician, I let this happen. They go for this, they rekindle out their monster, they Synchro into Thought Ruler, I negate it with Thunder King. And then we go to the next game because they are dead to the Breaker on board. Game 3, I opened double Banisher, which is nice. I did open Dust Tornado. The reason I have the Dust Tornadoes here is because their back row can be problematic, and they also have Raikou plus Spy. So I want to have chainable back row into Descendant and Raikou. It's very likely we'll be playing a grind game like we did in the last game where we just had card advantage plus pressure. So I just want to be able to make sure that I have chainable back row so I can get random +1s here and there. Opponent gets to go first. They set the Raikou. Well, you You can see it's a Raikou, but we don't know it's a Raikou, but you get the idea. Here, lead on breaker, same as always. Pop the back row, hit solemn. Really, really nice for us. Attack into the Raikou. Easy clap, 2 for 1. Raikou mills a spy, and it does mill a fire dog, which sucks for us, because now rekindling is pretty good. I'm going to set 1 card and pass. I don't need to set the Book of Moon. The reason I don't set the Book of Moon is because there's nothing I'm booking on this turn, and also if I draw a Heavy Storm, I would like for it to be not shitty, basically, because the opponent has back row, or if the opponent sets more back row, etc. Now, they didn't stop our breaker on the last summon with their middle set, so their new set is more likely a live set, so I'm going to hit that in the end phase, and it's Bottomless Trap Hole. They elect not to attack with the Gale to play around Deep Prison. I think it's a little too passive. I think you just attack with it. Bank on the fact that the back row could be bottomless or like Book of Moon or something, and just attack into it for sure. Yeah, I was just missing damage there for no reason. We do end up hitting the bottomless, which is nice, because our read is based off of good information. We summoned Banisher and we attack, but they do have Deep Prison, so... yeah, I don't know. If I was the opponent on the first turn of the game, when they had Raikou Solemn Deep Prison, I would have Deep Prison the breaker instead of using the Raikou, because the Raikou can pop back row or monsters, whereas the Deep Prison can only ever pop monsters. So I think it's a little bit of a misplay for them to save the Deep Prison. They could have had Gale and wanted to set up a situation where they have like Gale plus back row, but if you're not attacking anyway, because you're scared of my back row, then Gale plus back row doesn't mean anything. I can just ignore it. We pick up our Mystic Swordsman. A little bit awkward here. Would have been nicer on the first few turns of the game, but alas, here we are. We just pass the turn after the Banisher gets Deep Prison. Take 13 here. Draw Solemn Judgment. And here I'll just go ahead and summon the Banisher, attack over the Gale, set my 2 back row, and be crushing, more or less. They brain the Banisher here, which is fine. They sack for Caius. I go ahead and Solemn the Caius. And they pass the turn. We pick up Trap Hole. And now I could set Mystic Swordsman level 2 to try and like bait them into setting a Raikou or a Spy or something. I could also just like not summon anything and like have Trap Hole Book of Moon. But I go for this set. I have Book of Moon to flip down like a Fire Dog or something, and I can Mystic Swordsman over it. So there's that. Or I can book a Stardust even if they go like Rekindling, make that shit. They sack for Caius, target the Mystic Swordsman. A little bit awkward, but Trap Hole kind of clutch against Caius. Caius is the most popular card in the format, and Trap Hole just lets you get some accurate 2-for-2s, which is nice. And now we're just up 3 cards to 1. We had those chainable back rows. We had the card advantage off the breaker. We had the card advantage off of like just battle and stuff, and we're in a good position, I think. Summon the Banisher, attack for 16. It's more damage. It increases our clock, or decreases our clock. We pick up Starlight Road, which is nice. That'll protect our back row from Heavy Storm, and it will also protect us from Torrential Tribute if we want to summon the Gale in the future. So I'm going to attack for 16, set the back row pass. They top deck Flamvell Magician. They attack me. They try to book the Banisher, and I just book their Flamvell Magician, and they quit out. And I say GG's, and the opponent does not. So another salty opponent, as you can see. All right, this game's against DBD Captain. I lose the die roll, or I win the die roll, actually, in this game. My hand's okay. The upstarts are kind of ass, and they just find me more monsters, which sucks. I could choose not to summon anything here, but I figure whatever they open with will trade with DD Warrior Lady, so I think I go for that. Yeah, I set the DD Warrior Lady. This was maybe my, like, biggest mistake in this game, was setting the DD Warrior Lady. I probably shouldn't have done it. They summon Lila and they attack. This is a bad play. They should just break the back row once the summon is successful. It's, like, genuinely just a bad play. Just take your +1 and your mill. The whole point of this card is to mill in this type of deck. You'll see later on. They pass the turn. We pick up Breaker, and now our hand is just full of monsters. Opponent has no back row. The Breakers are looking kind of dead. This is really awkward. I'm just going to summon Dinah and attack for 27. Unfortunately, this pressure is like not that great because they just have 2,000 extra life points thanks to the upstarts. They go ahead and charge, find Raikou, set a monster, pass the turn, pick up Mirror Force, I summon another Dinah, and attack. I just want to deal as much damage as possible. They're going to target one of the Dinahs. Mirror Force isn't a bad draw, but it's also not a great draw because it's very likely that they have spell trap removal in the form of Heavy Storm because they haven't set any back row this whole game. So I'm going to set it and just pass. They do have Pot of Avarice here. Their mills allowed them to get a live Pot of Avarice, which sucks ass for us. We also now know that they are playing Machina Lightsworn, which is a very popular deck right now. They shuffle, they draw 2. They activate Typhoon. They did end up having the back row removal. It was not Heavy Storm like I predicted, but they did have back row removal. The Gear Frame, they can attack over the Dyna, and we're in a bad spot. Straight up. They set a back row. We find our third upstart, which is really awkward because we've given the opponent 3,000 life points. We find Bottomless, which isn't bad. I'm able to summon the Breaker. I have to attack over the Gear Frame. I have to take this high-risk play in order to win. I don't have to attack with the DD Warrior Lady here to play around Deprison, but if they had Deprison, they would have just Deprisoned the Breaker, so I end up attacking with the DD Warrior Lady. They go for Call of the Haunted, which is fine. They're using this Call of the Haunted to just save 1,500 life points. They're going to lose it anyway because of the Breaker, so it's a fine play to use it to wall out the Warrior Lady. Now, I could have crashed the Warrior Lady, but then I have no more outside of the Bottomless to a second Fortress. So I just pop this, I set the Bottomless, and I pass. I have 2 outs to Fortress, so my position's not terrible. We have Bottomless for the Fortress. They chain Book, which is really awkward, because if they have out for DD Warrior Lady now, it's pretty bad for us. And they do. They have an Airbellum, which attacks over DD Warrior Lady. That's going to trade. On our turn, we pick up Thunder King. We have a couple of plays. I could attack into the set Machina Monster, and then I could tribute summon Cyber Dragon and make Chimera Tech main 2. It's just really awkward if they have a Machina Force. They can just run over my Chimera Tech. So I like to go for Thunder King, attack over this, trade with it 1 for 1, and then attack directly for 1,600. Keep in mind, I've given my opponent 3,000 life points, and they made the correct play with Call of the Haunted, so they saved another 15. So they've bought 4,500 life points that they shouldn't really have in this game, which is really annoying. It means I could, like, legitimately be pressuring their life points. Like, they'd be at 900 right now, and I could be like, Breaker, attack this monster, and if it's a Raikou, they're forced to pop my shit Breaker, and you get the idea. We pick up Typhoon, which is really awkward. We've drawn 3 of our 5 spell and trap removal in a matchup where my opponent has just, like, not had anything really relevant to be hit with our spell and trap removal. I attack the set, ends up being Raikou. They mill 3. They hit 3 more monsters, which is amazing for them. Never mill an Avarice, of course, but when I play that deck. And of course they have a second Airbellum. They usually only play 2 in these types of builds, but yep, they've drawn the second. It does hit the Breaker 2, which is really bad. The reason we didn't set the Mystical Space Typhoon is if they did have the Airbellum, we wanted to insulate our hand, give it at least a little bit of a 33% chance they hit a card that's completely dead, but instead they hit probably the best card in our hand, which is Breaker, because Breaker can just run this over and it doesn't expose us by using the Cyber Dragon. I actually would have preferred they hit the Cyber Dragon. We find Solemn, which is okay. We attack over this Airbellum. We set 2 and we pass. Now, any machine is really bad for us. We have to Solemn any machine. We attack for 21, and they don't have anything. We have Bottomless, which is nice, can prevent Machina Fortress or whatever. And we top deck Banisher, which is amazing too, because Banisher will protect us from them using our Cyber Dragon as a Chimera Tech. Now, it's still bad if they have Gear Frame specifically, or if they top deck Gear Frame specifically, because Gear Frame means they could run over the Banisher and then contact main 2 and the Cyber Dragon. If we don't use our Bottomless, basically. We attack the set monster. It's a cat. This is a hideous Art of Rescue cat. Never use it. It looks disgusting. We get in our 1,600 points, and as you can see here, like, the opponent would have been dead forever ago if we hadn't had to use 3 Upstart Goblins. But we did, so I don't know. I think this is one of the games where I was, like, really mad at the end because the Upstart Goblins cost me this game. They, of course, have Heavy Storm, Top Deck Gear Frame, which is the only 2 fucking cards they could have in tandem to actually break my board, which is really annoying, but whatever. Sometimes you get sacked by an opponent who doesn't necessarily play well, but I mean, they made the right play with the Call of the Haunted, but outside of that, they didn't really do anything too spectacular. We top deck Torrential Tribute, but it's too little too late. They go ahead and switch the Machina Fortress. This is a mistake. You should just go for game. I think my Mirror Force is already gone. Yeah, my Mirror Force is already gone. Opponent's just playing poorly here. They attack for 2,000. Obviously, that's fine. They sack for Caius. Another mistake. My Torrential isn't gone, so I'm going to just gun that and kill them. If I top deck Thunder King Ryo here, I actually am in a good spot. But I don't. I top deck fuck-ass Legacy of Yatagarasu, which is, like, the worst card. It's, like, the only bad card in my deck to top deck right here. Which sucks so much balls, dude. It sucks so much fucking balls. And, of course, they top deck something that kills me. So, yeah, that's that. That's just the way it goes sometimes. Yeah, you know, what was it? 3-4 top decks in a row, plus my opponent playing really poorly here at the end. But what can you do? Sometimes you're just unlucky. Next game, we get to go first, which is nice. We have Heavy Storm, which is really good. We have Reaper. We have Dust Shoot. This is just a great hand. We have 3 limited cards. We have Dyna. It's just a beautiful hand. It's really, really good. We go ahead and set the Reaper, set the Storm, and set the Dust Shoot. The game plan is to Dust Shoot their best monster, and then hopefully Pro Storm into Reaper them. We go ahead and Dust Shoot them. As you can see, they have Gear Frame, Cyber Dragon, Force, Avarice, and Call the Haunted. It's a little bit awkward. We were kind of forced to send back the Raikou, because the Raikou can pop our Heavy Storm, which is pretty bad if they don't set their back row. But yeah, it's pretty bad for us, all things considered, because they do get to Gear Frame. And if we want to get Reaper hits in, we have to compulsory the Gear Frame, which is annoying, because we didn't set our Deep Prison alongside the Heavy Storm. I probably should have thought ahead that they would attack my set monster and set the Deep Prison as well, but what can you do? They hit into the Reaper, and then here they make, I think, another mistake. They set the Call of the Haunted next to the Mirror Force. You shouldn't do this. There's no monsters in the graveyard. Your Call of the Haunted is just dead to a breaker. So is your Mirror Force, honestly, but I don't know why they would set both here. I would just set nothing here if I was them. I might set just the Force, but yeah, I would probably just try to set nothing. Because if I have Breaker pop on the Mirror Force, then I can't get over the Gear Frame anyway. So it's like, I would probably just set the Mirror Force. But I don't know. Maybe they're scared of like Dust Tornado or something. It just doesn't make a lot of sense why they would set the Call of the Haunted here. It just doesn't do anything. In any case, we have to set the compulsory in order to get the Reaper pokes in, which is annoying. Oh, don't want to keep showing their hand. They have Avarice, Cyber Dragon, Fortress. DB was lagging hella, which is annoying. Here we pick up Deep Prison, and we have a couple options. We could go Summon Dyna, compulse their guy, attack with both, hope to hit the Gear Frame. It's not very likely though, and they could also just have top decked and out to our Deep Prison, which I don't like. So I just pass the turn. I'm trying to get more value out of the Heavy Storm, but it's just not happening. They set a monster, and I'm like, okay, that sucks, because now I have to compulse that. But I do pick up Book of Moon, which is nice. Very lucky top deck from us, because it'll let us attack over this Gear Frame. So we go ahead and Heavy Storm, chain compulsory. I know they're 2 back row from the Dust Shoot. Destroy their 2 back row. Go ahead and summon the Dyna. This is going to lock out their Machina Fortress and their Cyber Dragon. Book of Moon their shit. Attack them directly. Hope to hit the set monster, which was Raikou. And we did, which is very lucky. It's a 20%er. So this game we got incredibly lucky, which is very nice. Not only do we have a very nice start with Dust Shoot but Heavy Storm, but the opponent misplayed into it, and also we get to pick out their one-of card that can help break up this position. They book the Dyna. They special summon Cyber Dragon. They attack the Dyna. I just Deep Prison here because my monster is better than my everything else. They go ahead and set a back row and pass. Now this could be a Torrential Tribute off the top, but I should have recognized that they have Pot of Avarice in hand from the Dust Shoot. And I know that they should be setting it maybe to like whatever, what is the word? Insulate it against the Reaper pokes. But I'm also like not super keen on flipping the Dyna quite yet. The nuke effect could be good, and I could get a chance where like if that is a Torrential, I have a Starlight Road. Next turn I can maybe summon a monster I draw off the top and like get a Stardust. So I get a little greedy here and I don't flip the Dyna. I think it's okay to get greedy here. We're pretty much winning no matter what because our hand is so good and we're up 3 cards. We attack directly. We hit the Fortress we knew about. They set another back row. I pick up Smashing Ground. Now here I could flip the Dyna, but again, I just want to get greedy and resolve a Stardust. Plus I'm going to be able to rip their last card regardless in the case that one of those is like Torrential or whatever. We know one of their back rows is now Avarice, and it's more likely that it's the middle set, so that's something to keep in mind. They pick up a new card. They set it, pass the turn. We pick up our own Torrential, a little annoying. I decided to just flip the Dyna and start to get aggro here. The Spear Reaper 300 pokes don't do anything now that they have no cards in hand, so yeah, just hit for 15. If they have Mirror Force Torrential, we have Starlight. We set our Torrential, we pass. They dust our Starlight, which is annoying, but whatever. And then they top deck Gear Frame, of course. This is one of their few outs off the top. I think they only have 2 outs off the top to this sort of setup. And even this doesn't really get them that far. They search Force, they attack the Dyna. We take 600. They pitch Special Machina Fortress. Now I could Torrential here, but then they can Avarice, which is annoying, so I decide not to. They equip, they pass, pick up Bottomless, which is annoying. I Tribute set Sidra. I Contact Fuse into Chimera Tech because I'm trying to apply some sort of pressure. Unfortunately, they fucking top decked Bottomless, which is annoying, but if it wasn't that, it was like Torrential, so you get the idea. We set Bottomless, pass, opponent draws a card. They activate Avarice. It's annoying, but we're still up cards even after the Avarice, so whatever. As long as they don't draw Gear Frame, it's fine. Of course, they pick up a defensive threat here. And I'm like, alright, what do I do against defensive threat? I'll just attack it with Dyna. They decide to banish the Dyna. I think this is a mistake from the opponent. They could have very easily just not, and then switched the DD Warrior Lady and tried to run it over. But I guess they were scared of D-Prison, which kind of makes sense. Summon Gear Frame search. They did top deck it eventually. Attacks me for 18. I take 18. I find Kaiku, which is like best possible. Summon Kaiku, smashing the Gear Frame, attack for 18. Banish both their monsters. Now they have nothing in the grave for Avarice, nothing in the grave for their Force that they searched. And yeah, Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer is like one of the best cards in this format for this reason. They set a monster, they pass. In the case of that's Hamster, it's better for me to attack it with DD Warrior Lady, so I do. I don't banish this Hamster because I don't give a shit about it. It's never doing anything to me. I have Pulling the Rug for Caius, so I just keep my DD Warrior Lady in play, and I attack the set Raikou with Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. The Raikou is going to pop the DD Warrior Lady and mill 3. We set our Pulling and pass the turn. Now they haven't found Heavy Storm, which is pretty lucky for us this game. We've had a pretty lucky game in general, but them not drawing Heavy Storm in the top half is pretty lucky. I mean, it's like 50-50 chances, right? They end up sacking for Caius, which gets owned by Rug. We top deck Legacy of Yatagrasu, and I'm like, at this point in the game, I just want to like fucking rip this card in half. Like, I literally never want to play this card ever again. It's so ass. I banish their shit. I banish Caius and the Hamster. Caius to keep them off Chaos Sorcerer, and the Hamster to keep them off of, I don't fucking know. They did top deck Gorse, so they did have a little bit of luck in their top deck there. And I set the Legacy, making me want to punch myself. I said nice draw, because it is a nice draw. Gorge is probably the best possible thing for them here. They attack over the Kaiku, playing around Mirror Force, which is, you know, fair here. It's not already in my grave, you know. So that's that. Take 900. We Legacy. We find DD Warrior Lady, which is pretty good. Set the Warrior Lady, pass. They continue to play around Mirror Force. I would have attacked actually with the other card if I was them, because the set monster is most likely a DD Warrior Lady. It's going to banish the Gores. If it's Fossil Dyna, it's clearing both regardless, so it's better to attack with the token and not the Gores. They set Hamster and pass the turn. We pick up Typhoon. Useless here. They have no back row. I set it. I pass. The reason I pass is because if it's a Raikou and they flip it, I want a Torrential. I want to hold my Thunder King. Unfortunately, they catch wind of this, and they just attack directly for 18, pass the turn. I'm like, fuck it. I have to play into the Raikou eventually. I'll attack over the token. Pass the turn. Opponent's up to 6 cards now. They have their card advantage back. They set another monster and pass. I pick up another Thunder King, which is nice. I know at this point, if they had had Raikou, they would have flipped it. So I'm just going to attack into the middle set because I think it's Hamster. And it is, which is nice. We clear the Hamster. They get a Raikou. They set a card. They pass a turn. Very nice for us. Our Typhoon is now live. We get to hit their Torrential. And we do find Banisher, which is actually really good. I can normal summon that. Basically force their Raikou to hit the Thunder King. Or not hit the Thunder King, but hit the Banisher. They elect not to. They elect to actually hit the Thunder King, which is fucking weird. I don't know why they hit the Thunder King here, because now they're just banishing cards from their deck and keeping themselves off of the Avarice. I don't know if they have Avarice in hand. They do, yeah. I think that's a mistake. I think it's like a pretty bad play, but whatever. Anyway, they set a new back row. They pass. We have Thunder King. We attack. They book the Thunder King for some fucking reason. DD Warrior Lady can banish this. I never have to attack this set monster because not all 3 of their Raikous are gone. So if it's a Hamster, I'm just taking damage for no reason. And then if it's something like DD Warrior Lady, like I never have to risk my Banisher into that. So I can just pass. They find Heavy Storm, which is bad for us. And then they pitch the... no, they don't do anything. They just trade for the Banisher. I thought this play was really fucking weird. They should have just attacked over the Thunder King. Because, like, what am I doing? Attacking my Banisher into your DD Warrior Lady? Like, I can't do that. Anyway, they pitch to Summon Fortress and then pass. But I have Soul Taker plus Fossil Dyna for game through everything. So, that's game 2. That game was less messy. I had sided out the upstarts. I think I sided out the Legacy. No, I might leave the Legacy in. This game, my hand's okay. It's 5 monsters, but like they're all good monsters. And I pick up Solemn, which is kind of nice. I go for Breaker, try to pop the back row. Now, I don't set the Solemn here. I'm thinking the chances of them having like Brain Control Cat or Brain Control Airbellum are really low. Or Cyber Dragon Airbellum are really low. So I'm just not going to set the Solemn until I absolutely have to. If I draw Heavy Storm, I want it to be live. I don't want their like Raikou to have a good target in the case of like me setting Solemn Judgment, etc. So they set a card and pass. If they had Gear Frame, they would have summoned it last turn too. So I have no reason to set the Solemn. We pick up Dyna, another monster, but could be worse. I don't summon into the back row because now I have Solemn to help play through their back row. So I'm going to try to just set that up. Oh, no, wait. I play around Mirror Force, but not Torrential. I summon Thunder King main too. The reason I do that is because if they have Mirror Force, like, at least I get the damage in here, and I can still take the 2-for-2 trade because the Breaker already got his +1 into Torrential. So I attack with the Breaker to get the damage first, and then I play around Mirror Force, but not Torrential because I'm not upset about being Torrentialed here. In any case, our Thunder King gets bottomless, which is okay. It like kind of sucks, but it's okay. They set a monster, set a back row pass. We pick up Starlight Road. I wish we would have drawn the Road before the Solemn, but it's just the order we drew it in. I summon Thunder King, attack the set. They book the Thunder King. This doesn't really make a whole lot of sense why they would waste the book here, unless they were like expecting to top deck something, or they were intending on flipping the Hamster next turn, which is now what I think it is. I think for a long time here, I end up Solemning this Hamster. I'm not sure if this is a correct play, but if they have Hamster Kais, it's like, it's kind of bad. And if they just Hamster attack over the Thunder King, it's really annoying for us too. So I do Solemn the Nimble Mega Hamster. It also keeps him pretty far off of Avarice. I don't know if this is the correct play, but it's what I got. I end up setting 4 back row and passing, and here I make the biggest fucking choke play of the game. I summon my Kaiku before flipping the Thunder King. I should have just flipped the Thunder King first. I'm like, if they have Torrential, I'll just Starlight it. And they do, but they also have Solemn. So this is pretty bad. I could have saved my normal for after this. And then I could have also, like, dealt them a shitload of damage. Like, I could have normaled, like, Kaiku here and put them to, like, 1,000, which makes our Fossil Dino lethal. So this is actually a terrible play, summoning the Kaiku here. This is, like, the play that lost me the game for sure. For sure. So they go to 24. They would have been at whatever, 800, and they would have lost their graveyard guy too, which is pretty big. Pass the turn, we draw Pulling the Rug, which is a good draw, but you'll see the opponent gets a 50-50 right. We set this Smashing because if they top deck Machina Gear Frame, I need them to be at least a little bit scared of a sweeper and not play into it because we'll just die. That's the reason we set the Smashing, is to bluff a sweeper. So Mirror Force on the Dyna sucks. That would have happened the turn prior on the Kaiku, and then the Dyna would have been able to connect this turn, but alas, here we are. They end up dusting, getting the 50-50 right, hitting the Pulling the Rug. Normal summon Card Trooper, which is pretty bad for us because we're going to take damage and drop to 21. But we have a really good out in Cyber Dragon. We top deck Deep Prison. Now I thought for a very long time here about just like not Cyber Dragoning here. But, like, if they top deck Gear Frame, like, we just fucking lose. And if they top deck Force, we also just fucking lose. Because our set card is fucking Smashing Ground. So, I kind of have to go for the Sidra play. They book their own dude, which sucks. Because that means they'll get to cycle their book for a new card. I attack over the Card Trooper. And also our Cyber Dragon's still in play, which is bad. They draw another card. They Force. Bring back Fortress. They Contact into Chimera Tech. They Avarice, which is now live. Because our Kaiku never connected. Obviously, a really awesome experience for us. They get to draw 2 new cards, and they do get to attack. They don't attack. They just Kai's the other one. They get a 50-50 wrong here, which wouldn't have mattered. If they had just hit the Smashing Ground instead of the Pulling earlier, we would have the Pulling, and the Pulling would have cucked this Caius, and we probably would have been in a much better spot, but alas, here we are. They pitched a special to Fortress, and then pass. We top deck Compulsory. The reason you pitch a Special Fortress is if we draw Bottomless or Thunder King, it's much better for them to summon it. But I think it's bad to summon it in the case that we top tech Fossil Dyna or DD Warrior Lady or Cyber Dragon. So it's kind of like a 50-50. They just take the 50-50. I don't really like taking the 50-50. I like holding the Cyber Dragon and the Fortress, but that's just me. Maybe they do it because they're low. They end up topping Gear Frame too, which is really annoying. So it's basically Cyber Dragon or bust here. They pass turn, I set Torrential, they don't play into it, and then we lose. But yeah, I think the turn I messed up this game was summoning before flipping. I think that was pretty much it. I say GG's, and I also say that they got pretty lucky. Because they did. I think they got really lucky in game 1, and the upstarts were really bad. I think if I cut the upstarts, this matchup becomes a lot better. Because you can actually like pressure them after you like resolve a Cyber Dragon. Whereas now, like I resolve a Cyber Dragon and like it doesn't really do much. But yeah, I think the list can be improved a little bit upon to make this matchup better. And then on top of that, you could also just not play like an idiot like I did in this game and win more consistently. All right, next match. Next match is against Deck Dizzle, and this is gonna be the last match for the video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Of course, subscribe if you haven't already. Just want to showcase some fun little gameplay. Opponent's playing a 43 card deck and opens Quick Draw Dandy. I wish I could open that consistently in 40, but hey, here we are. This is the power of Fossil Dyna in this meta. Absolute blowout against Drill Warrior shit. Now this is pretty good for them. They do get a Cyber Valley away their token and draw 2 new cards. And they also get a Pitch a Shell for value, which is really good. But thankfully the opponent has no back row, and Dyna is just gonna like be destruction against them. These types of decks, I like playing Book of Moon because Dyna can really destroy you, and you can like draw phase book the Dyna. And while you're still getting owned, you can still set up some plays where you like at least trade with the Dyna or whatever, and you get to add something back, potentially set up another drill. Here I just set Trap Hole. They didn't set any back row, so there's a chance that they have Heavy Storm. So I just set Trap Hole. Trap Hole will protect the Dyna and just like keep us chilling. They draw for turn. They activate Hidden Armory. They search Mark of the Rose. Now they can't special or normal, so they can't really do anything this turn. They just have to set one and pass after activating the shell. I figured the set card is most likely a bluff because they didn't have a back row last turn and they also didn't Hidden Armory last turn. So it's most likely a bluff. I just go ahead and summon the Reaper, and I do get a poke into their hand. Unfortunately, I do hit a shell, but like, what? There was 2 of them in hand, so it's like a 33% chance to hit one. We hit for 12, pass the turn. They go for heavy, which I correctly predicted they had. They have Mark of the Rose on the Dyna, which sucks, but their conversion is Cyber Valley, not Caius, so we're actually just still chilling. They go ahead and DDR, pitch Dandy, bring back the drill. It's kind of a cool little setup. Once you get the drill going, you can like DDR it back and stuff. But unfortunate for them, I just have another Dyna. So that's the strength of this deck. We set 2 and we pass. Heavy Storm's now gone, so our back row is pretty much safe. I set the Torrential first in the case that they have Typhoon. I want them to Typhoon the first back row, not the second one, which was the bottomless. We go to sighting. The opponent asks me, do you play 3 Dyna? I tell them I play 7, and they left the duel. Now maybe they thought I actually literally play 7 Dyna, which you can't literally do on Dueling Book. But maybe they were also just fed up with my sarcastic response, which is fair too. Maybe they didn't want to play their 43 card quick draw Drill Warrior Turbo deck against Fossil Dyna Turbo. But at the same time, again, this is very rude. I hosted a match. Come to play a match. If you're going to leave in the middle of the match like this, fuck you. Don't join my game. You get the idea. Anyway, closing thoughts on the deck. I want to cut the upstarts. I want to cut the Legacy of Yugioh. Let me know in the comments below what you guys would play in those slots. I'm not exactly sure what I'd play in those slots, but those cards seem kind of shit, actually. After seeing them in the matches, I was citing them out almost every single game. I was not really happy with them. Maybe you could honestly get this Rhoda and this Mystic Swordsman in the main deck. That'd be kind of cool. And maybe get a Kaiku in the main deck and get, like, I don't know, a main deck Pulling the Rug. Something cute like that. Something that gives you really positive tempo. I think this deck can take advantage of positive tempo a lot better than a lot of other decks. In any case, see you guys in the next vid. Peace.